This is a video response to the gentleman who has been posting videos online of him desecrating the Eucharist, Dominique. There's a difference between respectful, intellectual disagreement with others and what you've done here on YouTube. Do I or others have a problem with others disagreeing with us? No. We can respectfully disagree. What you're doing is not on that level at all. It is immature, hateful, and I think many would see it as some desperate attempt on your part to get attention. Let me emphasize what I have to say about immature. It is not as if we have to be serious 100% of the time. It is not as if I take myself 100% seriously. In all of my YouTube videos, some of them are goofy. But spending your time making videos meant to mock and insult Catholics in terms of a deep and fundamental belief of their religion, such hurts the feelings of others, even if you don't think it hurts Christ. And for that reason, I strongly think that you should discontinue what you've been doing and remove your videos from YouTube. You should do it. You shouldn't have to be made to do it. As for your responses to how people have mocked you, I can understand that it is ridiculous, the things that some people have said in terms of mocking your accent and so forth. So I can relate to you on that. That's them attacking your character and resorting to ad hominem rather than attacking your arguments. But there's very little substance in your posts with regards to you having actual arguments. It's mostly just mockery and expressions of your own incredulity at beliefs of Catholics around the world. Beliefs you see fit to ridicule. I'm not trying to insult your intelligence. I have no basis for doing so. Don't know you well enough. But I do have a basis for criticizing the method you have been, your methodology. I have a basis for criticizing it because it's very childish. You think of us as religious zealots, it seems, but your behavior, treating something as false, mocking it and those who believe it, and insisting with such casual hubris that you most certainly between their ears would automatically agree with you. I'm sorry, but aren't you aware that many a religious zealot acts in just the same manner? I was under the impression that you didn't want to be in the same category as them. In this regard, non-believers, usually atheists, although I'm not trying to generalize, that would be unfair, they often act quite similarly to the most close-minded religious fundamentalists. It is interesting how many non-believers insist, along with many fundamentalists, that the existence of the Judeo-Christian God is incompatible with and directly contradicts the Genesis creation accounts, as if we must take those accounts in a strictly literal sense. We see time and time again non-Christians, in efforts to discredit Christianity, taking elements of that religion out of context, resorting to logical fallacies such as straw man arguments, just as often as many fundamentalists do. Truth be told, this is often due to a severe intellectual laziness by which one wishes to disprove something with very little effort and very little substance. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the person making the argument is not intelligent, but it means that their methodology is extremely poor. Between some of the Catholics who take issue with you, who you think to be loonies, but who are more than willing to calmly and concisely rebuke your actions as being religiously insensitive, disrespectful, immature, and logically deficient, between them and yourself, who is acting like the close-minded religious zealot? Who is acting like that zealot, who is completely dismissive to that which he disagrees with, and whose arguments against that are no more than middle school insults? Ironically, there was one fundamentalist Christian a while back who posted a YouTube video in which he too mocked the Catholic belief in the Eucharist, with the only exception being that he was considerably less disrespectful than you have been, and apparently did not waste as much time on doing so. He didn't waste his time making 40 Eucharist desecration videos. The YouTube user Christian Students took a styrofoam cup, you can take a look, and said he was going to transform it into a hamburger, and then proceeded to eat the cup as his lunch. Your arguments against transubstantiation are ultimately no better than his, but ultimately comparable to his. Incredulity, mockery, immaturity. So maybe you should stop and think for a minute just what educated individuals are going to see you as. Maybe you don't care how people perceive you. Maybe you don't care. Maybe this is just your chance to vent. But if you care at all about how people perceive your message, whatever that message might be, then I think you should reconsider your approach, because it isn't going to convince anyone who isn't already convinced. To use political terms, you might get the base to have a few chuckles at Catholicism's expense, but you are alienating the other side, and those in the more moderate camp that listen to what you have to say and see what you have done are, for the most part, just going to shake their heads at your immaturity.